Hey there, it's Anonymous Tea, where we spill the tea anonymously. Hello, 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 everyone. Hello, YouTubers. Hope you guys are all having an amazing day today, sending good vibes, sending positivity, sending blessings, and good energy to each and every single one of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today we are talking BB Reindeer games for all of you Big Brother fans. And I wasn't sure going into this how this was going to go. I hated BB25 because it had so much potential and there were some good twists, and then it just completely flopped the rest of the season, right? So I was excited for potentially anything that was going to make me forget BB25, and this show delivered. And I'm happy with the cast because for the most part it is fan favorites or people that you are at least familiar with if you are a Big Brother fan. So it was easy to kind of root for certain people, and even some of the villains that were villains on their season, seeing them in this type of environment. In seeing this though, there's two things I need though. I need a winter celebrity Big Brother back. We need another celebrity Big Brother, you guys. Like what is happening? Why can't we have it? Why haven't they announced this, right? And we also need live feeds. I need live feeds to see all of the whatever else that's happening behind the scenes because what the heck, right? So we have intros of all of the 9 players, right, that are going to be participating in this game. Everybody's all happy and hugging each other and all these things. Right off the bat, Cody and Frankie established their final 2 alliance. Obviously, they're besties from their season. They're going to protect each other. The black people decide to have like a mini cookout, although X I don't think is all the way in on this cookout because he sure as heck did not mention anything about the cookout during this episode, which I found odd. So I don't think he's all in. I think he will be in, whatever gives him the best chance to win type of situation. And I don't think Daniel Reyes is all in. And I think she's about to pull the ultimate blindside on Taylor against this Black Alliance, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait because Daniel has the right strategy. She knows that there are all these winners up in here, and she was supposed to win her season. So why would she be in an alliance long term with all winners who have a high chance of winning again? Make it make sense, right? But she will utilize them and make them think that she is all in with them until it is time to turn, right? And I cannot wait, right? So there are 2-hour episodes that air Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. So we got the first episode out of the way. And the first challenge was there was like some clues out of some boxes, out of some presents to put together DJ's favorite Christmas song or whatever, right? And so Jordan makes a appearance as one of the elves' helpers. I like Jordan, but I did not like how slow she was reading these challenges, you guys. I mean, it was like, is this why the episode was 2 hours? I just didn't understand. I'm thinking to myself, okay, production, if you pinpoint, certain fan faves that you wanted to be Santa's helpers or Santa's elves or whoever, why wasn't there an opportunity for each of them to read these scripts so that you knew the people who were going to deliver and the people who were going to be slow? Like it just seems like an obvious thing to do, right? Since you had certain people on speed dial, right? But nonetheless, once I kind of, just saw everything for myself, I figured out what the game was because it was a train wreck trying to watch Jordan explain it, and I just felt so bad. I'm like, what is happening? So nonetheless, they had to figure out what the Christmas song was. I liked how low-key Danny and Brittany were being as far as trying to figure out the song and kind of going in with it with a strategy that they were each going to guess something different, but pretty much knew that one of them was going to be right. I like their alliance. I think they are a sleeper final 2 to watch out for because they're not too obvious that they're working together, which is good, which is great for both of their games, right? So ultimately, Brittany guesses correctly and is the first person to win a challenge. And basically, she is informed by Jordan that she is going to have both a naughty and a nice component to her win, right? And so the nice component is she'll have an advantage in the next game. And the not so nice, the naughty, is she has to give somebody a disadvantage, right? So she holds little conferences with everyone, pretty much all the women up until this point. Nicole, I'm still suspect on whether or not she's all in with all the girls, but we'll see, right? For now, the girls seem to be sticking together, right? But I'm always cautious on this because something always goes left, and I'm just waiting for that to happen, right? But for now at least, the consensus was Brittany was going to give this disadvantage to one of the guys because Big Brother, typically, in a lot of these competitions, there's always some type of physical component to it. And why have an advantage, to the men who are already going to be, bigger, stronger, more athletic, and all of the things, and try to, take all these challenges and pick all of them off, right? So basically, she presented this was a house consensus, not a consentence, a house consensus of who she felt, who they felt should get the disadvantage, which actually was smart on Brittany's part, I must say, because it kind of took the target off of her back, right? Because if you're pinning it on other people that were gunning, for the person who gets the naughty, thing, then that, shifts the target off of her, right? Which is ended up working out for her, right? So she ends up selecting Cody as the person who should get the naughty thing, right? And it was so funny because she didn't remember Xavier. I don't know what's going on with Xavier, but this show, as far as like his edit, is giving nothing, you guys. Like absolutely nothing. Like when Brittany was dragging him, I was cracking up. Because I was like, it really just shows how much Tiffany should have won for the cookout. And we were robbed, you guys. We were really robbed. But nonetheless, we get to the challenge eventually. Well, no. Let me correct that. We see Nicole going to work, you guys. Nicole is immediately going to work in between every single event that is taking place in this house, right? So she is up here, she's, trying to pretend to be in the BB16 alliance with Cody and Frankie. She is trying to, sort out some beef with Brittany right off the bat because she needs allies and she feels a certain way that Cody played her in All Stars. So she is trying to rack up as many relationships as possible, right? And essentially, her real beef, though, if we want to keep it a buck, is with Janelle, right? And also is with Rachel Riley and her sister from their season on The Amazing Race, right? Because they were supposed to have a BB alliance, and then it was no more, right? So there's some other pieces to this than Nicole simply being upset about some tweets that Brittany put out there, right? So we will continue to monitor this and see if Brittany is simply playing nice for the sake of the show, or if they're like genuinely like repaired whatever issue, and the bigger issue will still be between Janelle and Nicole, right? That will be remaining to be seen, right? Cameron is a complete miscast, you guys. A complete and utter miscast. He should not have been able to be on this show. I don't care if he won America's Favorite Player, you guys. He gave absolutely nothing tonight. And like the challenge, he was always going to be a target one way or the other because they're going to feel that he hasn't paid his dues yet. Why should they have somebody who was on a recent season that just ended weeks ago be on this show? Right? Because that could either be a good or bad thing, right? You can still have some extra juice to win all the competitions, or you can be fatigued from being in the house for so long to where you're not all there. You still dealing with, some of the stuff that went down on your season, right? So it's literally hit or miss as far as it goes for Cameron. But his problem is he does not have the relationship since he is a new alumni to the BB world. So he is going to either have to build a really strong social game or try to get some alliances. Otherwise, he's going to be just a sitting duck, right? And an easy elimination, right? When it's all said and done. So next we get to this challenge, and this goofy challenge. Basically the contestants had to walk back and forth on a candy cane made type of pole, and basically put letters in different players' mailboxes. It's basically a sabotage game, right? The person who has the most letters likely is not going to win the challenge. The person who has no letters in their mailbox and quickly retrieves a gold letter to their station is going to win the challenge, right? So immediately everybody, targets Cameron. Also, Cody has a disadvantage, which I was kind of irritated with, that it was only one extra letter, because I was kind of like, well, that's not really a disadvantage. Like, he should have had like 5 letters or something. Like, it was just too ridiculous, right? And so ultimately we see the game. Frankie off the bat tells everybody that he's just going to be fair and put a letter in each of everyone's mailboxes, so that way it kind of takes a target off of his back. Meanwhile, the rest of the cast is immediately targeting Cameron, but then once Cameron's mail is overflowing, essentially, they have to pivot. So they start pivoting then to Cody, right? So there's no love lost as far as Brittany targeting Cody, because she gave him the naughty thing, right? But some people, unfortunately, are showing their hands too soon, which was Taylor, who then started to target Cody. And I was like, oh no. This is not a good idea. This is too soon to make it known that you're after him, right? And so now she's on Cody's radar, right? Because he's like, well, why is she targeting me or whatever, right? And so nonetheless, we get through this competition. Josh is, even though he's always on the challenge, there's just certain competitions that are not to his strength, and this was one of them. And so he just kept falling off of the beam, and it was hilarious. And then Cody had a nasty fall, and like hit his head and fell in epic fashion. And I was here for the replay, the slow-mo, and everything. I thought it was hilarious. I thought Nicole's reaction to it was hilarious when he fell, because it was just crazy. It was just absolutely crazy. He was like running and then just like walked into walls and then just like fell upside down. And it was just glorious, right? So then from here, basically we get towards the end of the competition, and it basically is between Taylor and Frankie to win, right? So ultimately it looks like for a hot second that Taylor could take this, but since she showed her cards with Cody, he's now targeting her, right? In this game. So ultimately Frankie was able to win. And so part of his win, besides being saved, was he had to choose 2 people to basically go into this Santa showdown, right? And it was pretty obvious that Cameron was going to be an easy selection. Like I said, he had 0 relationships. He was trying to build all of these connections and things, and nobody was giving him anything, which is a terrible thing. And it just shows that he is not that good of a player, as much as Facebook wants to hype him up, because a real good player would have been able to establish something to at least keep themselves out of the Santa showdown, right? And so basically Frankie, they've converted this HOH room into like a Santa meeting, right? Where people come in to like plead their case or whatever, and / get some tea. So obviously, Frankie and Cody and Nicole are not going to target each other, even though Nicole's secretly targeting Frankie and Cody. But as long as Frankie's in power, she's not going to let him know that, right? So pretty much it's known that it's going to be the guys that are going to be going into the Santa showdown. Frankie has a strategy to get all of the strongmen out, which eventually is going to be Cody, right? I don't know why Cody thinks he's going to be exempt. He's a threat. He is a former winner. He is prime targets, for a lot of people in that house. So, nonetheless, also towards the end, X had put a letter in Frankie's mailbox, and I don't think that's really the reason that he was like one of the possible people that were going to be, considered for the showdown in addition to Josh, because they were trying to think, basically it was going to be down to Josh and Xavier to go against Cam in this competition. There was no situation in which Cody was ever going to go into the showdown, and I don't understand why some people in the house have not clocked it, like Taylor. Like, how can you have not clocked this connection, right? And so, nonetheless, pretty much Frankie tells Cody that some of the girls are dropping his name and that the guys are being all tight-lipped because they know that it's likely going to be one of them into this showdown. And so he's like, okay, so who's saying my name? And so basically Frankie tells them Taylor. Right. So now we're going to have a setup. I already see this happening, right? We're going to have a setup to where it's going to be this Cody versus Taylor situation, and ultimately who is going to strike first to get the other person out? Will Taylor's karma, prevail another time, another reality show, and Cody goes before her? We will have to see on the next episode, which airs tomorrow, right? So finally, they have these jingle bells that sound anytime it's time to make a decision for something. They did it with Brittany when she had to make a decision on who she wanted to give the naughty disadvantage to, and they did it again for Frankie to announce who basically his nominations are. If we're just going to keep it a buck, right? And so he's up here prancing, and nobody's following his lead. Nobody's following his lead. He's doing the most. He's twerking in front of the DJ during the first challenge. It's just all theatrics with Frankie, as you guys know. So he basically names Cameron, and then it was kind of like a thing where, Taylor keeps saying in the confessionals, we got to get, Cody out of here. We got to go for Cody. I told Frankie what to do, who the obvious choice is, and I'm like, Taylor, you're playing way too hard. Why did you reveal, to Frankie that basically X is your number one? Because now you've completely exposed your game, right? And so, essentially she's looking silly because Frankie chooses X to play in the game. The same X that Taylor said under no circumstances she didn't want to see in the Santa Showdown. Right? So that should be, alarm bells should be going off on Taylor's head that Frankie is not to be trusted. And that basically Frankie took what she said and said, thank you, I'm going to go put your number one in there and not my number one. So nonetheless, we are going to see, ultimately who is going to win the Santa Showdown. The loser goes home, right? The loser goes home, loses their chance to win 100K, right? So basically we have a puzzle. We have a big Christmas Yeti sweater puzzle with Rudolph on it, right? And that is the competition that is Cameron versus Xavier. I knew before this competition even happened that Xavier was going to win because I think people underestimate how many challenges X was throwing his season and how he really only won challenges when he needed to win them, right? But ultimately, there were so many challenges he threw that people are underestimating him. And so, nonetheless, you had I think 56 or 57 pieces of a puzzle of this sweater you had to put together. You had a reference point of, how to put the sweater together. And pretty much, there were two different strategies, right? Cameron's strategy was to go through the middle of the sweater and put together Rudolph's face first and then go outward to put the rest of the sweater together. X's strategy was to start at the sleeves of the sweater, and then from there you can work on the face because there's some stacking components, right? So I felt that basically Cameron never had a chance as soon as the competition began, you guys. Because his strategy number one was all wrong. And number two, I noticed he was not going to the reference point as much as Xavier was to kind of have that mental memory of kind of what pieces to put where on the sweater. He was kind of just winging it with the Rudolph face in the middle and then just figuring out what things were going to be after that, which was not a good strategy. I had no idea why production was telling the cast that the competition was neck and neck when Xavier was beasting through it. And there was zero chance for Cameron to ever win, nor catch up, nor ever be close. And it was funny because Daniel threw a shot at Caitlyn and he was like, man, at least these people are going to complete this puzzle unlike Caitlyn. I love the shade. I love how Danielle is in her element, letting these people know that she is a legend. And she should be winning this 100K. And I cannot wait. I hope she is. I hope she is in the finals. I have to see her in as one of the finalists to win this 100K. But nonetheless, they, for whatever reason, dragged out this competition to make it seem like it was a lot closer than what it was. I think to just give Cameron some extra camera time and DR sessions. But pretty much from the lack of DR sessions, I knew he was a first boot, right? I didn't have to look up any spoilers or anything like that. I knew from the lack of DRs that he was not here for the long haul, right? So ultimately, X wins, and then pretty much before he wins, though, he couldn't find like the last piece, and apparently the last piece he must have forgot to put on the Christmas sweater or whatever. Ultimately, he quickly finds it and beeps in and wins and gets to save himself, right? And so ultimately, Cam is eliminated, but before he goes, Jordan tells him that under the Christmas tree there are all of these Christmas presents. Some of the presents are fruitcakes, and other presents can be cash rewards up to $5,000. And of course, Cam chooses a box that is likely not money. In fact, it was like a year jelly subscription. So I'm like, this is just fitting, right? This is just fitting, right? You could not do any significant gameplay within the day that you were there. And not only that, you chose the wrong box to not even win any cash. But you do have tax-free, after the taxes, your AFP money, right? So there's that. And also your jury money, right? So you're not going completely empty-handed when it's all said and done. But hopefully that's it, that we don't have to see Cam again. Because that was enough, right? He wasn't giving, and it was just proving how much he was outsmarted, right? So there is that. But let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think of the show? Did you guys enjoy it? Did you guys anticipate it to be a lot, worse than what your expectations were? Please let me know what you guys think about it in the comments. And if you're going to continue watching, let me know who you're rooting for. Oh, that's what I forgot to tell you. So I am rooting for Danielle and Brittany and Taylor. I think they have a very strong chance to go far. Something is telling me that they're going to go far in this game, specifically Brittany and Danielle. I'm not sure yet about Taylor because I feel like Danielle is setting her up for a big, like, hey, I have to take you out, sorry, type of situation. But nonetheless, we will see, right? We will see how this goes and how far Taylor makes it and whether or not this is going to be an all-female final, if the females will stick together, or if Nicole will circle back and pretend that, like, she needs Cody and or Frankie to go to the end. We'll see what happens. Also, people need to stop underestimating Frankie. I don't know why people are. So there is that. So let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments. Please do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell so you're notified the moment I post new content on my channel. And with that being said, I'll talk to you guys again very soon.